How to build a team for LR AGL Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta. How's it, everybody? Celtic Link here. We're back for another Dokkan Battle video. In today's video, we are taking a look at the new best unit in the game, the LR AGL Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta, and talking about how we can build the best teams around this character. So in order to do this, as always, we're going to take a look at the character. What is he doing, right? How is he functioning within the team himself? And it'll take a look at his link set and best link partners, and then show you how to build some teams around him and those partners. So let's go ahead and let's get started. Let's start by taking a look at the unit. So he is a Carnival LR, meaning he leads a single category for 220%. Now, normally this is not ideal, but honestly, his team is actually pretty darn good right now. So we'll show you some teams under that GT Heroes lead in a minute. Taking a look at his passive, we have an entrance animation that can be activated when there are 2 more GT Heroes allies on the team. Launches an additional super attack and all attacks become critical hits for 1 turn. And you have super class allies defense 70% for 4 turns. He gets key 3, attack defense 300%, receives an additional key 1 per key sphere obtained, and attacks that are effective against all types. He has a high chance of performing a critical hit, guards all attacks, and damage reduction rate 50%. He also launches an additional super attack. When attacking, he gets 300% attack, and when receiving an attack, he gets 200% defense. When receiving a super attack, he temporarily receives 200% extra defense. When receiving a Ki Blast super, he has a 70% chance of countering with tremendous power, and if he has 70% or less HP, he has a guaranteed counter and nullification on Ki Blast supers. After receiving 3 or more attacks in battle, he launches an additional super attack starting from the next attacking turn. After receiving 7 or more attacks in battle, he gets key 4 and performs a critical hit for the rest of battle. So all in all, makes him very good. This makes him an extremely hyper offensive character with some pretty good defense to boot. His super attack effect here is giving him a 4-turn greatly stacked, so that's a 50% raise, with a 70% chance to further increase that boost for the turn by 100%, a massive raise. On his 12 key, he is raising attack for the turn with a 70% chance of further boosting it another 50 with a greatly raise. So like I said, incredibly hyper offensive character, and he's got the stats and the power to back all of this up. It's pretty amazing what this guy is actually doing, and he's all doing it right out the gate. So the question then becomes, well, how do you build a team around something so amazing? Well, I mean, you start by taking a look at their link set, right? His link set is a pretty basic, albeit very specific, Saiyan setup, right? He's got Super Saiyan, he's got Kamehameha, Shocking Speed, Fierce Battle, Saiyan Roar, GT, Legendary Power. These are some very common Saiyan links, but 2 very specific links that help him out the most that you do want to prioritize. Saiyan Roar, right, which gives him 25% and defense 10%, and GT, which gives him attack and defense 10%. These are 2 extra links that are not always easy to activate, but the fact that they are, that he does have them, right? Saiyan Roar is essentially big bad bosses, but for Super Saiyan 4 characters. And he did get it, which Super Saiyan 4 Gogetas typically don't. So the question is, well, how do we maximize this, and why should we? Well, in order to answer that, we're going to take a look over on the Dokan FYI. I love this website. It's a great website for taking a look at units, analyzing what they're doing, taking a look at their links, and how to build a team around said link partners. So I will link this in the description for those that are interested in taking a look at him. So the main reason you want to prioritize his links as much as possible, I know this seems silly, but so you really understand with what we're dealing with, right? His link skills, right, at level 10 links are giving him, right, 15% attack, 10% attack, 25% attack, 10% attack, 20% attack, 15% attack. That's 95% extra attack by having all of these links activated. Defense is not crazy, right? It's an extra 25% defense. Nothing crazy, but it is ideal, especially on a character who has no defense on his super attack effect. Having that extra through links and other means is very helpful for them. But of course, he's an offensive character, so the more you can take advantage of the links there, the more offensive he is going to be for you. And you're in luck, because his best partner is also one of the better LRs in the game currently. The LR Super Saiyan for Goku and Vegeta, and LR Fizz Gogeta, right? The Easy A for the year 7 LRs. They are a 7 link partner for these guys. That means if you have him linked up, you are getting every single one of those links activated. You are getting that 95% and that 25% defense. So they are ideal for being his best partner. But of course, they aren't the only option, right? 7 links is obviously ideal. That is the best for him. But if you don't have them, or you're running 2 Gogetas, you might only be able to have one of these guys linked with them. The best thing is he's also got a great partner in one of the next best units in the game, the LR AGL Goku. The only thing he's missing here is shocking speed, which, if you're focused on his offense, is not that terrible. Shocking speed only gives him an additional defense 5%, which obviously for a character without that passive defense or defense on the super attack effect, you do want that. But the nice thing about partnering him with Goku is, of course, Goku does give him that 70% defense through his passive, as well as some extra damage reduction, as well as if Goku is the one to attack first, he will further boost Gogeta's defense by adding 40% to his super attack effect. So that's very, very helpful here for him. And again, that's 6 links. He also has another 6 links with the AGL LR Goku, who is temporarily boosted. So if you wanted to build a team around them, that's very helpful. And of course, the STR Super Saiyan for Goku, another 6 links. The only thing you're missing here is legendary power. So this is a little bit worse because that's a drop in 15%. But it's still, it can be more than made up for. But if you didn't have any other partners, this is a great partner for him. This guy is getting a super easy A soon, so he could be helpful there. But, even if you weren't using that, maybe your setup requires something different. He's got some good setups here under 5 links. He's got both Vegetas, right? The STR Vegeta. He's got the AGL Vegeta, who is getting his super easy A. So you've got some work here, right? On an Earth Protecting Heroes team, right? You do have options of the Super Saiyan 2 Gohans, both the super easy A and the Fizz LR. Now, if none of those are options for you, you also have a huge roster of 4 links. Now, having access to the main 4 links of most Saiyan characters is incredibly useful for him, because it allows him to slide into a lot of the major teams and work quite nicely. He shares 4 links with the new LR Super Saiyan, God Super Saiyan, Goku and Vegeta, right? The GT Goku, the Gods, Namek Goku, the Goku side of Goku Frieza, Tech Vegito, Gotenks, who kind of seeing a little comeback here on a lot of Fused Fighters teams up against the new bosses, AGL UI Goku, right? Just all around a pretty good link set, sharing 4 links. My typical rule of thumb is 4 links or more is what you want to focus on. Starting to get below that, you start to run into the territory of, having your unit basically functioning at half power, which, maybe for some fights that's necessary because of the abilities that some of those other partners are bringing them. But for the most part, you typically want to avoid that, anything less than 3, and focus on 4 and higher. And it doesn't always have to be a perfect 7-link situation, right? Sometimes the situation requires for partners with the lower links, such as, say, for an example, a boss that stuns on turn 1 and is guaranteed to super slot 1. There's a few of those, right? Having someone like AGL UI Goku at your disposal to still provide 4 links to him is incredibly helpful. This way you can run maybe one of their Gogeta's other link partners in your slot 3, such as the super easy A's, who typically tend to be designed around slot 3. You can run them slot 3 with AGL UI in front to dodge that stunning super. That would be very helpful for Gogeta, so that way Gogeta doesn't have to worry about getting stunned. He'll obviously probably tank whatever super. There are very few supers he can't tank, or outright counter. And so, right, having a partner like this that can hold that for him is very helpful. So the question is, knowing that, well, how do you build a team around this, right? Because no matter what he's doing, he's going to be the dominant force on this team. Well, lucky you, we have a few great options for you here. Let's go ahead and let's switch back into our game here, and let's take a look at these teams. So one of the first teams we have set up here up at the top is the GT Heroes team. Utilizing his own lead, we have him next to, so the basic play here is you would have one rotation of the Gogeta, one rotation of the LR Super Saiyan 4s, and then the other rotation of the AGL Super Saiyan 4 Goku and Gogeta. Those are your two core rotations for the setup. With AGL, the two boosted EZAs, AGL Goku and STR Vegeta as your third slot floaters. You would also utilize the STR Pan as a third slot floater for some additional attack and defense boost through his two-turn super attack and passive buff. Now, that the Pan you see here is not that STR Pan. I actually did not pull her, but this is a placeholder. If you have the new STR Pan, that is ideal to run on this team because the extra defense she gives Gogeta to his super attack effect makes up for him not having on his own, right? Even if it is only a 20% raise, that is huge for him, especially combined with AGL Goku on the opposite rotation. Another good setup here is utilizing the same team, right? Maybe you don't want to use the LR boosted characters. Well, we do know that the STR Goku and AGL Vegeta are getting their Super EZA, so kind of have a similar setup here under GT Heroes, but utilizing the two Super EZAs because we know for a fact that they are getting one. Another GT Hero setup you could go for if you don't want to use the Super EZAs. You also have the EZA Goku and Vegeta. They work very well. They're great floaters, great orb changers for Gogeta early on. That's very, very helpful. And of course they themselves can live and most supers and deal some pretty big damage depending on how much orbs you get. So that's another great setup. So and let's say that that's not your cup of tea. Maybe you're more interested in a giant 8 power setup. He is on the 220% for AGL Super Saiyan 4 Goku, so you could also run 2 of them. This is also really good for Gogeta because the double Goku support here it really helps make up for that lack of super attack defense. And double Goku, right? Giant 8 power. It's a very similar setup to what you would run for his GT Heroes. The only difference is, right, you're swapping out 2 Gogetas for 2 Super Saiyan Goku supporting the team. So it really just depends on the necessity of the fight. You know, it's possible, right? Having 2 giant forms is what's more helpful to that fight, and you might consider running this variant of GT Heroes and Giant 8 power. It also gives some leeway for your other units, right? Because you have things like the Heroes EZAs that could fit on this team when they come later this year, like such as like the SCR Bardock and the Int Gohan, right? They should be EZAing this celebration. As well as the Limit Breaker Super Saiyan 4s. So this, you know, this could end up being a really good team for them as the year goes on. Another good team you can run here is under the AGL Gogeta, the 10-year anniversary character, right? Utilizing a rotation of him and the LR Super Saiyan 4s or the AGL Super Saiyan 4 Goku, whichever you want to set up here. But basically have one rotation, one core rotation that is giving him 6 to 7 links. Your other core rotation has the new GDC LR, Goku and Vegeta with the LR Gods, and then your floaters being your 2 Gogetas there. I think that is a really nice, this would be a really nice team for him. Gives you access, double access to the Gogeta buff, which is always nice, right? That turn 5, getting that extra boost in attack from Gogeta's active skill. Another setup you can run, very, very similar, but swapping out the GDC LR for the Tech Vegito. This is very good for longer events where you need that target skill at the end, right? Like I might consider running something like this for Festival, for example, because the Gogeta can actually hold his own in Festival. Now we're getting into a little bit tricky territory with setups because while this should work, I believe Gogeta, right, his entrance animation, I would have to check on this, does say 2 or more GT allies on the team. I believe he counts himself here in the setup here. So right on like the we have an accelerated battle setup here under the Dokkan Fest hit, right? Sometimes you may, you know, the fight you're doing may call for having something like Ghost Ushers on the setup. So right, this is very true on a fight like say Rose Masu, for example. So this might be the call here. This could be a very viable setup. Again, I think just the 2 of them having a partner should activate it, but if not, you could always swap out like something like AGL Gogeta for another GT Heroes character that's on accelerated battles, such as I believe is he on accelerated? I think he's on accelerated battle. Oh no, he's not on it. Oh no, he is. Yeah, so you could just swap out like the Gogeta for him instead and it would still work, right? But this is a viable team, right? You would have one rotation of the LR Super Saiyan 4 Goku and Vegeta, and then the Gogeta, and then the other rotation Int Hit and STR Goku and Hit. Now, this does only put him on the 170, both of them on the 170, but you will see like their power is way beyond just the 170, right? Even on the lower leader skill, they're going to be doing well. Speaking of working on a lower leader skill, same thing here, accelerated battle setup, but this time instead going for the double Glorio. This is a good setup if you're running a boss that can be attack debuffed, right? Basically having attack debuffs go wild in the slot 3 with double Glorio. Double Glorio also providing 50% to each turn, and then you would basically what you have on this setup is a way to really boost the 4s, and you would have one floating Glorios. You would have Goku and Vegeta Super Saiyan 4 and Gogeta Super Saiyan 4 on one rotation, and then your other rotation is the LR Goku and the Daima Goku boosting their super attack effects on the other rotation. This is a really nice way to boost as well as maintain some attack and defense lowering on bosses where that's possible. One final team I wanted to set up is under the GDC Part 1 LRs. Now again, this one assumes, right, so this is Future Saga Fused Fighters, so you would obviously once again link them with the Super Saiyan 4s. Now, if we get a surprise, Easy A for the if we get a surprise Easy A for this guy right here, he will make a great addition to sliding into the team, as well to help activate that entrance animation. But I mean, being completely honest, on the teams you would run a setup like this, the entrance animation isn't going to make that big of a difference for him to begin with. This is more so, right, where you have you just have a team build that can kind of help you manage things like you know, when you need a dodge character in slot 1. This makes for a very good setup there. Right, because these guys have 80% chance to dodge. So the basic setup is like other teams that we have them, one rotation of them and the gods, and then the other rotation of the 4s and AGL Gogeta. These are all teams that work really well setting up Gogeta to work at his best, right? You'll notice that most of our setups revolve around keeping him linked with AGL Goku or the Fizz LRs. There's a reason for that. They are his best partners, and you want to maximize his best potential, and these allow you to do just that. So guys, that is it for our video. That is how to build a team around AGL Gogeta that hyper focuses on building his offense as much as possible through support, through links, and through the various different leader skills. So guys, that's it for the video. If you like the video, make sure you hit that like button, subscribe to the channel if you have not already, and in the comments down below let us know What are some teams you like to use the Gogeta? Are you mostly using him on his GT Heroes team, or is there another setup you like to use? Let us know in the comments down below. Otherwise, guys, as always, thanks for watching, and aloha.